Hey there friends! Today in this video we're going to talk about the U element of the 4 legendary relationship elements. And within our elements...
So good at that.
Yeah, all of our elements have what we call principles within each one. We're going to go through the principles.
They're the details.
The details, you know. And so we're going to go through what helps to create a thriving, healthy, happy you so that you can be the best husband or wife in the marriage.
Right.
Okay?
Just a person.
Yeah, person.
Yeah. Be an awesome person.
Be the awesome person
Yeah.
that you're meant to be.
Yeah.
So, the first one, which is probably, actually I would say the most important one, is emotional intelligence, or what is called EQ. a lot.
Yeah, it's your EQ.
Yeah. So emotional awareness is, you want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, just being aware of your reaction to things, right?
It's being aware of what's going on around you and then how to manage that emotion that you feel coming up.
Self-management.
Self-management.
Emotional management, right? Because something can happen, and there are times where we react well.
Poorly.
Or poorly, yeah, both. Right? So there's times we react really poorly to something, and then there's times we react really well to something.
Yeah.
And it's really a matter of managing how we're reacting to things. It's that awareness, that pause before. What is an appropriate reaction to this? Instead of, rah, or shut down, I'm not reacting at all to that. So it can go either way. There's a spectrum, right, of our reactions of fight or flight.
Yep. Do you have any tools that you recommend in order to grow emotional intelligence?
I would say start with Emotional Intelligence 2.0 is really important. I also would say meditation.
Yep. Just
bringing stillness and awareness to being present, because I think a lot of times emotional intelligence is, something that we struggle with when we struggle to be present.
Yeah.
We're trapped and caught up in the craziness and the busyness of life, and so the hamster wheel, as I like to call it, causes us to react instead of be proactive in being aware and moving from that space, and meditation helps that a lot.
Well, Dan Harris in his book 10% Happier, which was created from his anxiety and his mental breakdown on television. He's a journalist. Wrote this book about national television. Wrote about meditation and how it helps him to, in situations where he starts to feel triggered or anxious, to act wisely versus react blindly. And so a lot of that is built around emotional intelligence. The same things that might trigger us or bring us angst are still there. It's how we learn to manage, to recognize and manage our emotions around those triggers.
So this one is so important that I think we should take it one step further. What happens when someone has low emotional intelligence in a relationship?
Well, they tend to blame. They tend to play the victim role. They tend to lash out more. They let their perceived lack of control create that anger. That was true for me. So, and it doesn't cause strong communication, right? It causes a disconnect.
It's a break in communication. Because what happens is that when one person in a relationship has low emotional intelligence and the other one maybe is a little shaky and doesn't have a strong sense of self and emotional intelligence, is it just is constantly breaking down the relationship, and you're moving in this low vibration, low space. And when each person is working on their emotional intelligence, you're just moving up.
Right.
Yeah, you're connecting more and you're appreciating more and understanding more.
I think we should do a whole video, I'm going to say it right now, on emotional intelligence.
Yeah, you're right.
But we'll move to our second principle, which is priorities. And priorities, for the sake of personal growth and self-development, has to do with really doing acting on saying what your priorities are, because a lot of couples or people we talk to, they'll say, my relationship, my marriage is a priority. We're like, great, show us on the calendar what you're doing in order to show that your relationship is a priority. And we generally get crickets, right? And that was the same for us, right? Well, my marriage is a priority, but we weren't actually doing anything.
Not even close.
So really saying something is a priority is great, but actually doing.
Yeah, and so here's a quick 2-step process on priorities. Number 1, identifying them and putting them in a list of order. Maybe you can call that 2 steps right there. But what are your priorities? And put them in lists in order and saying, this is the most important. You know, maybe it's yourself, maybe it's your faith, your marriage, your parenting, you know, being your kids, family, finances, like whatever it may be. And then on another column, write the order in which your best time is given to that priority and see where the biggest gaps are. And so for me, when I had a coach do this, I was looking at, you know, we were struggling in our marriage, and I was looking at, you know, my marriage is like number 3. It was like me, or my faith, me, and then our marriage. And then it was like, how much quality time does your marriage get? And it was like, way down here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a really long way to go here from the calendar perspective. So the next step is to look at your calendar and say, if I'm saying this is a priority, maybe it's health, whatever, where is it getting the time? It's, what is it? Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, right. Or walk the talk, or, you know, does your audio match your video kind of thing? Yeah. All of the analogies.
Yeah.
But that's what priorities are. Or for us, is that it's not a matter of saying, yes, my marriage is a priority, or yes, emotional intelligence is a priority. It's actually putting it into the calendar and putting it into action.
Yep. So the third principle is, you just touched on, is health, really.
Yeah.
And we won't go too far into health. I mean, it's really, I think
Physical,
a lot of us,
mental.
there's so many tools and resources out there for health, but it's really making sure health is a priority. Eating well and exercising, whatever that looks like for you. And mental health, right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And mental health. And making that a priority in your life. Because bringing that, you know, sound body creates sound mind, creates a happy, healthier you.
Yes, and it's proven, you know, that when you don't feel good in your body, or you have low energy, or you have, you know, whatever it may be, that is the downside of not taking care of ourselves. We're not showing up with our best self.
Nope.
Yeah.
And so the fourth principle is happiness. And for the sake of the you element, happiness is creating that happiness for yourself. It's creating that self-joy, getting your needs met through your own self-care. You know, we talk...
Think of like separateness and togetherness.
Right. Yeah. Separateness and together. So you have to put on the oxygen mask. You have to have those self-dates. You've got to create time and space for yourself to build happiness. You know, for me, that was like, you know, going out on trail runs more and what have you, and doing things that I enjoyed doing.
Hanging out with friends
and
again.
then hanging out with friends again. And that when I would come home from that, I would be more sparked and energized to be a great husband and father.
He also had more to talk about.
Yeah.
When we were together. Yeah, right.
More things to talk about. Let me tell you about the things I love.
Yeah.
So, and then the last one is confidence.
Yes.
You know, and confidence, you know, I mean, having that sense of individuality, that sense of true self, and being truly just actually being in love with yourself, you know. It's not narcissism, and it's not narcissism. It's just
the opposite of narcissism.
Right, believing in your own abilities and qualities, and that brings a very awesome energy to the relationship, a very empowering energy.
Believing that you are enough as you are right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, personally, like, to build confidence was trying new things. So I would mirror health, or not mirror, but I would couple health and confidence together and do things in a health respect that were
you've never done
before, you know, and that would create the happiness we talked about. It helped with the health part of it and created confidence all in one.
And that wasn't what I needed at all. For me, it was cleaning up like childhood trauma that I had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was operating from a place of ego to compensate for what I had gone through, and mine was a self-love journey. That was my confidence journey.
And that's the beauty of the whole you element that we're talking about
Very
right
individual.
now. Very individual.
Yeah.
Very independent journeys.
Yes.
But creating the happy, healthy you so that you can bring the best of yourself to your marriage and relationship.
Exactly.